the timeline of things is very important to understand. That's why I asked about, because if we look if we look at everything sort of as a whole picture, it gets very confusing. But if we try to find a line with events on the line, we begin to see what happened before things. And life is very often a series of dominoes that fall down. So and and we don't see all of them falling, but there's a connection between everything. So there are 1,001 different reasons for cancer, and doctors don't know them all. But one of the most common is stress. One of my students died last year from cancer, and so it's it's life threatening at any point in time if you don't find the problem quickly enough and deal with it. It's horrible. Um, and I've never had, luckily, I've never had a close personal experience with it, except with my student who's sitting on my couch 1 month, and then 1 month later, they're dead, and it's frightening. Um, so that has to change your perspective on things. I mean, my student dying changed my perspective on things a lot. Yeah, so I have a lot of notes that I've written down. I'm gonna say some things to you, and we'll see if they make some sense to you. Maybe they'll make sense, maybe not. We'll find out. Getting children to do what you want them to do is only really achieved by modeling yourself as the example. If you instruct someone to do something else which you yourself don't do, it will be seen or felt as some kind of contradiction, and it won't make any sense. Now, the extreme example of this is, someone who smokes saying "don't smoke." That's the extreme example. Of course, there are smaller examples. So the model of being a perfect husband would essentially be being at home as much as is possible all the time. Not, I don't know what percentage it is. It's going to be like 20% of the time or something. So, you can't yourself be absent and expect other people to be present. It just doesn't make any logical sense. So that might be the way that things are. These are the way that things are. Yep, and that's why you can't dictate any specific set of rules about how to do things perfectly. Because perfect is understood by the modeling of perfect. To become perfect, we study that which is perfect and copy that which is perfect, not something else. So the idea that I'm doing this, but you have to do that, is it can work in some situations, but in others it can just be really counterproductive, because you're going in one direction and pushing people in another direction. So that can sometimes you think that you think by saying something you're communicating the message, but it's not about what you say, it's about what you do. Saying it does not make it so. So I think we understand that. So that's one thing. There's a lot of what I call stories in what you said. This is like this because of this, and this is like this because of this, and it reads like a story. And when something reads like a story, it's almost like we have prepared the story in our heads for ourselves to tell ourselves that everything is okay, which is what you said a number of times. But everything is not okay because you have very powerful emotions under the surface, which you can't always express. And that which is pushed down eventually, like that volcano in Italy a couple of weeks ago, it explodes.